Greetings and welcome to the lecture series Philosophy 101 Basic Concepts. This is lecture 1, addressing the question, what is philosophy? At the bottom of the screen you'll notice 8 different philosophers from different places and different epochs. Confucius, the Buddha, Socrates, Plato, Descartes, Kant, Hume, and Husserl. We will discuss these and many other philosophers during the course of this series. In order to understand the basic concepts, we have to go back to the ancient Greeks. The concepts of philosophy we will discuss here derive from the earliest investigations into reality by the ancient Greeks from around 800 BCE to around 300 BCE. In order to understand these investigations, you must understand the basic concepts in the original ancient Greek language. There are online tools that will help you in this endeavor. First is Wikipedia in general. And for the Greek alphabet and pronunciation, there's a specific Greek alphabet entry in the Wikipedia series. Google Translate, Wiktionary, Liddell Scott Greek-English Lexicon from the Internet Archive, and the Logion at the University of Chicago, which is Liddell Scott Jones online and updated. Now I'll take a look at all of these and show you exactly how to use them. This is the Wikipedia entry for the Greek alphabet, and it tells you some history about the Greek alphabet, and then it lists the letters in the alphabet and links each of them to a separate page, so it's very useful. For example, this is alpha, is the first letter of the Greek alphabet. In the system of Greek numerals, it has a value of 1. So we have alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, psi, omicron, pi, rho, sigma, tau, upsilon, phi, chi, psi, and omega. And you'll have to learn what each of these letters looks like and how to pronounce them. And so down here, there is a table that lists the letter, the name, the Greek spelling of the name, and then the different ways of pronunciation of each of the alphabetic entries. Once you have learned the Greek alphabet, then you'll be able to use Google Translate. So if you haven't used it before, it's very simple. There are 2 panels here. The left panel is the language that you wish to translate, and the right panel is the language you wish to translate it into. So I've selected Greek. There's a drop-down menu right here with all of them in alphabetical order. So I've selected Greek there for the original language and English for the translation. This symbol right here will bring up a virtual keyboard. You'll notice that it's in Greek. These are the lowercase letters. The shift key will give you the uppercase letters. So let's go ahead and type in logos, lambda, omicron, gamma, omicron, final sigma. And that translates from logos in Greek to reason in English. And if you press or click the listen button here, they will pronounce it for you in modern Greek.
Logos.
And so you'll have a pretty good idea of how it's pronounced. So use the modern Greek pronunciation sort of as a key, and then go back to the pronunciation keys here to figure out how it was pronounced way back when. So now that we have, the reason why you want to be able to do this is because you'll need to be able to copy this, the Greek version of it, into the Wiktionary entry, because it doesn't have a keyboard. So you just go ahead and come up here and search Wiktionary, type in the logos, hit enter, and it'll bring up logos. And then this has the ancient Greek etymology, modern Greek etymology. So you'll see here logos, genitive logu, second declension, that which is said, word, sentence, speech, story, debate, utterance, that which is thought, reason, consideration, computation, reckoning, an account, explanation, or narrative, subject matter, or in Christianity, the word or wisdom of God identified with Jesus in the New Testament. And then there are derived terms that you can go and look up the definitions for. So this is a very useful reference material and will be of great value to you in the future. Next, we want to take a look at the Liddell Scott Greek-English Lexicon. This one is from 1901, I think. I'm sorry, 1882. Was put into the library in 1901. And it's arranged just exactly like a dictionary, except the entries are alphabetically in Greek. So that's why you have to know how to do the Greek language first. And then once you get there, you'll be able to see the entry. I would recommend downloading this rather than reading it off of the Internet Archive. Once it's in PDF format, you'll be able to manipulate it a lot easier than it is on the screen here. And then we have the Logion at the University of Chicago. And all you have to do here, again, take your word that you want from Google Translate that you typed there and just put it up here, hit enter, and it'll bring up the word. And this is the Liddell Scott Jones, which is the most recent version of it, and this version is continuously updated by the University of Chicago. So you'll see logos is a verbal noun of logo, with senses corresponding to lego, and then it gives all of the derivation. It shows you exactly who said what, where it was in the sentences. Over here it's got frequency, the 55th most frequent word, and then like if you wanted to click over here on Plato, for example, it will bring up actual passages from Plato, and then you can translate these. And Google Translate will translate them for you. And so this is also a good resource to be using. And finally, Wikipedia, of course, which has entries for all of the topics that we will be discussing. I selected Ontology here. It doesn't have one for logos, although it does have one for logic. And if you would like to learn Greek in a more methodical way, there's a great courses set available from Professor Hans Friedrich Müller called Greek 101, Learning an Ancient Language. It's kind of expensive, but it's really, really, really good. And there is an introduction to it out on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description so you'll be able to find it. I won't play anything because of copyright concerns. But this is the very first DVD, the very first lesson from the Greek 101 series. And so you'll be able to get a feeling for whether you want to spend the money on it. Also, there are a number of books that you can get either through Amazon or online. This one is Teach Yourself Books Greek by Smith and Meluish. It's from, when was this? 1947, I think. Yeah, April 1947, and then this impression was in 1970 from the second edition. And it's very useful, very well put together. And then there's Ancient Greeks for Dummies by Stephen Batchelor, which is really good too. And then just a quick translation, pronunciation, and reading of Ancient Greek by Stephen G. Dietz. And so that's also, you could probably find this online. So now we're ready to begin to delve into the etymology and meaning of the basic concepts of philosophy. So philosophy is a compound word composed of philos, which means love, and sophia, which means wisdom. The term was probably created by Pythagoras around 550 BCE. We're guessing on that. Philos, which is phi, iota, lambda, omicron, and final sigma, means that which is loved or that which is important. And Sophia, which is sigma, omicron, phi, iota, alpha, was the goddess of wisdom. Now, Sophia was represented in Homer as cleverness or skill in carpentry, but by the time it is readdressed in Plato, Plato defines it as wisdom and highest knowledge, and it was a unique kind of wisdom called phronesis, which we will get to in a later lecture in the series. Secondly, there's a taxonomy of the 5 domains of investigation of philosophy. So ancient philosophy was concerned with 5 domains of investigation. These 5 domains were based upon Aristotle's taxonomies. This provides a simplified model of philosophical inquiry, and it applies across all philosophical systems, regardless of when they were created or by which peoples they were created, which epoch or which country they originated from. So the 5 domains of philosophical inquiry are: 1, metaphysics, which is subdivided into ontology, cosmology, and teleology. Then the second is epistemology, the third is logic, the fourth is ethics, and the fifth is aesthetics. Now the 5 domains are arranged in a hierarchy. Taxonomies are always hierarchical. These must be learned in this order. Metaphysics first, ontology first, cosmology second, teleology third. Then you can move on to epistemology, then to logic, then to ethics, then to aesthetics. Now, just a modern note, Sartre reminds us that metaphysics always entails an epistemology. So it's almost doesn't matter where you begin from a modern perspective. But from an ancient perspective, metaphysics was the first item of study. So metaphysics, according to Aristotle, is prote philosophia, which means first philosophy. Heidegger equates it in Aristotle's mind with theology. First philosophy is theology, the study of the divine. The name metaphysics itself comes from the phrase to metaphysica, and that is because the first century CE editor was collecting all of the texts by Aristotle, and he placed the texts of what is now called the Metaphysics immediately after the bunch of books that comprised Aristotle's physics. And so we get to metaphysica, which means immediately after the physics. There are 3 domains of metaphysical inquiry: ontology, cosmology, and teleology. Now, ontology is the study of being, or what is real. It comes from ontologia, ontos, which is genitive of on, and on is the Greek word for reality, or being, that which is. Logos, or logia, means reason, logical discourse, or the study of something. Cosmology is the study of the origins of being, or the origins of the universe. Cosmos is the Greek word for the world, and this element of study is now subsumed under physics and astronomy. Teleology is the third component of metaphysics, and it is the study of the end, or the purpose, or the goal of being. Telos means end, goal, or purpose in Greek. Now, after metaphysics comes epistemology, which is the study of knowledge. What is knowledge? What can be known? Episteme is the Greek word, which meant science or knowledge. They were equivalent. Science and knowledge were the same thing. The third area of study, the third domain, is logic, the systematic study of the form of valid inference and argument. It comes from logikos, of or for speaking or speech, possessed of reason. The fourth domain is ethics, also known as moral philosophy. It is the study of right and wrong conduct. It comes from the Greek word ethikos, which means showing moral character, which derives from the Greek word ethos, meaning character. And finally, the fifth domain is aesthetics, the study of art or beauty or taste. It comes from the Greek word aesthetikos, of or for sense perception, sensitive or perceptive. So to review, the 5 domains of philosophy according to the ancients were metaphysics, which means first philosophy, subdivided into ontology, which is the theory of being or the theory of reality, cosmology, which is the theory of the origin of being, teleology, which is the theory of the purpose of being, Second is epistemology, or the theory of knowledge. Third is logic, the theory of reason and meaning. Fourth is ethics, the theory of moral conduct. The fifth is aesthetics, the theory of beauty. And in modern days, we have sort of combined ethics and aesthetics into a new study called axiology, which is the theory of values. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Stay tuned for more lectures in the series, which will be upcoming in the following weeks.